This is Will's legacy.
It's what he left us with. Make that difference for other people.
He will live on forever, and as a grandparent, what more could you ask?
Where's Daddy? Where's Daddy? Show Daddy I like it, Daddy.
So it was a Monday morning, and after a scan, we knew that our fight, Will's fight, was going to come to an end.
We had a sense that, okay, we've done all that we can. Now we make you comfortable, and we wait.
People kept coming, and they realized within about 12 hours that room was not going to suffice for who we needed to see and who needed to be there with us. So they moved us.
And I remember chairs lined up on the wall, and they were always full.
2 beds put together so everybody could be in there at one time.
It was more like a living room, you know what I mean, where you're almost at a gathering.
It didn't feel like a hospital to me. That's really the only home Will knew. So to me, it was a space that was created out of love.
I knew that there was a real grace in that room that you don't find in a hospital room. People had time to make peace with what was happening.
From that Monday through Friday when Will passed, it was just constant stream of people.
We really could step back and say, we know we're going to lose him, so how are we going to embrace these last moments? We jammed a lifetime in 5 days.
Every moment was so much bigger. It had more meaning.
We had cakes, we sang to Will, we took his footprints, his handprints. So that last week to me was laughter and living and grief.
I just always remember looking in his eyes and hoping that he knew, and his eyes spoke like he was going to be okay, and we were going to be okay. And those moments will be with me my whole life.
For at least a few hours at the end of Will's life, we all had that time and that space to be together.
Because we needed to be there.
Yeah.
We needed to be with Will for however long.
I remember very clearly leaning over Will with my stethoscope, listening to the heartbeat slow and slow and slow. And I knew that, we were moments away. And I looked around the room, and there were tears, but it was quiet.
It was everyone you could have ever imagined needing to be with you was there.
That last week would have been profoundly different if the rules weren't bent for our family. We would always be wondering if Tammy and Matt were okay.
I can't imagine what it would have been like if the boys weren't there. In our house, that was family. The hospital was our house, and that's how we lived.
I couldn't imagine it any other way. It was the people, but it was the fact that all the people were there in a very comfortable environment, allowing everybody to console each other.
I felt that on Monday when we got our news that this would be Will's end of life. I felt like he literally held our hands to take us to the end of the journey, which we didn't realize was the beginning of another journey.
And I remember my wife and I were standing next to Tammy, and she said, I don't know how to do this. Everything they've done since then shows that they do.
When I look at the blueprints and think, wow, we're doing this. Not just Matt and I, our board, all these wonderful people who donate to us, we're doing this. We are taking an awful situation and trying to make it softer for these families.
So we really see this room having 3 primary uses. End-of-life care would be what we would think is priority 1. Diagnosis day would be priority 2, and first treatment would be priority 3.
A room like this, I think, is really as essential a part of the process as the initial diagnosis, as all of the treatment, and what comes after death.
I see it as a place where, yeah, there's a bed, but it doesn't feel like a hospital room. The equipment's tucked away. There's living space. There's a place for people to sit at. There's places for food to be prepared. It's bright. There's music playing.
Our hope for the room is that it has the comforts of home, but you have the safety net of the doctors, nurses, and everybody around you.
When the end is coming and the family has to make that decision, I think they deserve that transition that Matt and Tammy and Will had.
It gives those families an opportunity to have a memorable experience despite the outcome.
Once the room is done, we are just beginning. We need to continue helping all of these families that are going to be impacted directly, and we need to be able to say yes to them like our donors have been saying to us.
If one family gets to experience this, that brings me joy. But multiple families that can say the same thing someday, that to me is, it is healing, and it's beautiful.
That is the legacy that Will built, the legacy of comfort and peace and living with no regret.
This is the legacy that Will built.